Okay. Well, I have like just 5 minutes ago finished my semifinals match against CatInTree. Spoiler alert, I lost, which means the finals are happening right now. Uh, we have Kayiu on Jeskai Battle Control featuring Iviana versus CatInTree on red-white tokens. Kayiu being the number 2 seed, the other undefeated player from the Swiss, is going to be on the play this game. Opening hands. Kayiu has no sweepers. Kayiu does not have main deck friggin' Deafening Clarion, so uh it's just Eltonons. But does have turn 2 removal, turn 3 removal, got counter spells, got an off the demon, looks like a great hand. Probably gonna turn 1 Silent Lakefront. CatInTree, meanwhile, has pretty good looking hand. Matriarch, can't cast Skyray Tender, doesn't have double white yet, but can do Matriarch, I guess, into Matriarch. He's looking for something to make this hand do something. Yep. Kayiu goes and gets a Twiltree Plains. CatInTree, glad to see the draw of Windbeaten Stones, I'm assuming. Going to be Plains, Kitsune, Matriarch. Very important to get a 1-mana threat in under all of these 2 and 3 mana answers, especially when you're on the draw. This Matriarch looks likely to remain small for the foreseeable future. Kind of interesting decision here of whether to shock in Misty Peak to leave up Uku's and Overrule Thought, or just play Island and leave up just Overrule Thought. I'm actually not sure which of those is correct here. If you play Island, you're likely to need to shock in a land next turn, so I think this is quite justifiable. CatInTree is going to play a Radiant Pilgrim. Going for the double 1-drop here, suspecting a 2-drop answer here. Very smart. Kayiu have to think about. Well, certainly you're not interested in countering this, I don't think. If you're going to answer it, you want to answer it with Ukus Crusaris. Yep. And then this is going to be followed up with Kitsune Matriarch, which is probably going to prompt an answer of some kind. Yes, looks like Ukus Crusaris on Radiant Pilgrim is going to happen. No, on Kitsune Matriarch, looks like. No, I did not. I did not even. There was not even an arrow. They just both assumed it was Matriarch being targeted there. Another Silent Lakefront. Okay, so Kayiu just on a bunch of 1-for-1s here, so not actually getting the better of it necessarily. Going to be land, probably CatInTree goes for Anomaly here, if no relevant draw, and it gets countered. Yep. So CatInTree could go for Skyray Tender, but can only cast 1 spell this turn either way, so might as well play Fabricated Anomaly, the more impactful one. This is going to get countered almost assuredly. Kayiu in this situation is afraid of Consume the Divine. We'll be noting the mountain play here, meaning mana for Consume the Divine is not guaranteed because it costs triple white. Mills peak Path of Scales, so nothing relevant in graveyard yet. Yeah, and this is just having the turn, no sweepers, but just having turn 2 answer, turn 3 answer on the play into what looks like turn 4 answer here. Can play one of these 3 cards off the demon, will cost you 2 life off Windbeaten Stones. And is somewhat vulnerable to stuff like Casus Belli, which can exile it. The safer play is just tap Windbeaten Stones, Ukus, one of the creatures. Looks like it's going to be Offset Demon. Makes sense. You want to play your kind of clunky 4 mana sorcery speed plays on the turns when they are available to you. And this is a turn where Kaiyu's just not feeling under that much pressure. Yeah. Kayiu gets in for 3. Back up to 19. CatInTree draws another land. It's can play a Skyray Tender, but at this point, just not getting the board impact they're hoping for. Plays the Torrid Path rather than saving it to cycle later which is an interesting choice. Could have played the tapped Windbeaten Stones and had Torrid Path in hand. I guess valuing the ability to shock it in and have Terminal for 5. Um, Terminal for larger numbers is relevant because what's her name? Iviana exists, who's a planeswalker who can get up to some pretty decently sized loyalties. But yeah, in this case, Skyry Tender comes down, going to do its thing, trigger Radiant Pilgrim, trigger Kitsune Matriarch, trigger Kitsune Matriarch again. So it's actually going to be a hit for 6. It's a pretty substantial attack. It's the kind of synergy that this deck can put together. Goes to Program A, although this looks like this Offset Demon is going to survive just fine. And Kayiu sitting here with 4 mana can just play another Offset Demon. Is capable of racing here. Is on Program A, although hasn't marked it yet. Could also go for a countermeasures. Just probably on the Kitsune Matriarch, get some nice card advantage that way. Just leaving up, yeah, probably going to countermeasures this Matriarch at the first available opportunity. And CatInTree draws another land, so the steam kind of running out a little for CatInTree. Going to be able to hit for 5 this turn after the Matriarch dies. But after that, yeah, just during start of combat is fine. It's got to be Matriarch. Yeah. And it is corrupted because of Offset Demon. Attack Kai for 5, but just not outracing these Offset Demons here. And finds an Eltonon. That's going to seal the game up more or less. Eltonon for 2 next turn will take out all of CatIntree's permanents, and really not within range of a terminal impact endgame here. Not through Offset Demon lifelink. Yep. And for Kayiu, yep, it's gonna CatInTree. Yeah, Windbeaten Stones, Terminal Face. I think it's what you have to do. Um, but even here, this is still doesn't top deck terminal doesn't even do it because Kayiu gets to hit with Offset Demon, go up to 9, and then Eltonon X equals 2 at bare minimum. Um, and then that's more than, and then it would need to be. No, the terminal impact just does not race the Offset Demons is the problem. Even if you draw one every turn. Okay. Yeah, Kaiju has a lot of options here. The obvious option is just Elton on X equals 2. You could also play a second Offset Demon. That's probably also a winning line. Um, I guess maybe slightly risky. You gain 6, go to 12. You take 5. So you're safe from terminal impact by 1? Is that correct? But you're dead to, like... Uh, no, I was just saying you might be dead to Sparks of Revolution. You're dead to double Sparks of Revolution in that double Sparks terminal, but they only have 2 cards in hand after their draw step next turn, so yeah. Wow, choosing not to play the Eltonon, choosing to play the land instead. Shock it in. The line is just going to be Offset Demon plus Uku's Crusaris. Which I guess kills the opponent slightly faster. Going to gain 6 to 10, 2 more to 13. Yeah, and okay, that's also a guaranteed victory, to be sure. And CatInTree, once again, Down 0-1 in a top cut match. Draws a Skyray Tender and is just in fact dead on board. Can't kill an offset demon. Can't. I guess gonna have to hold back fish to block. That's where we are with our life right now. Yeah, seems likely. Uh, yeah, leaving back both fish to block. Wow. Uh, oh no, attacking with one of the fish for 7. Kayiu, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1 card in hand. But to say Kayiu could, yeah, can Ukus the untapped fish, and that's lethal right there. So this might be a quick match. Sorry, this is like literally 5 minutes after my last match, so I do not have Kaiyu's deck open, but the most important thing to know is that it has Deafening Clarions in the sideboard. Kaiju, unlike me, does not have the Clarions in the main. They're in the sideboard, which CatInTree, which means for CatInTree, this is not getting any better post-board. CatInTree has virtualized Onomastics. I don't think either of them are going to have much else that's very good for them to bring in. Okay. Overall, this tournament has had a lot of control, kind of like two different general flavors of control. There was kind of the blue green flash centric control, and then there was kind of the blue red Iviana and or Path of Scales type control with the sorcery speed haymakers. Both types of decks having done pretty well for themselves over this tournament, but also a number of decks trying to exploit the control decks and get in under them by various different angles. CatInTree over here managing to take a match off of me. Various black-based aggro, black-red aggro, mono-red aggro from PTM. And it's going to come down to aggro versus control in the finals here. And Kayiu is looking ahead. They have a 2-drop removal spell and then 2 sorcery speed 5s. CatInTree looking at a 1 lander on the play. Probably can't keep this. It has 4 3-drops in your hand. Yeah, that's a mulligan from CatInTree. And Kayiu would seriously consider mulliganing this. It's a slow hand. Uh, CatInTree mulls into a 2-land hand, turn 1 Sparks, turn 2 Ragtag. Got automatic 2 impacts. Doesn't have the scaling 1-drops that you really want for those really fast starts, but still pretty respectable. Puts back one of the terminals here. Kayiu is going to keep this hand. It's a little slow. So the Spark Revolution is going to get some damage in. As Ukus Kusaris is, I guess it's going to kill an Onomastic is probably where it's going. Another Ukus is a great draw here. Probably just going to be Silent Lakefront for. Ooh, it's actually tricky because you have double white. You do want to get blue at some point, but you can't get blue on turn 1 because you need to Ukus on turn 2, and you want to Primal Fissure on turns 1, 2, or 3. It's actually kind of complicated. I think it's Silent Lakefront on turn 1. Oh, okay, we're going for Windbeaten Stones turn 1. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Windbeaten Stones turn 1, Plains turn 2, Primal Fissure for Island turn 3. CatInTree draws another land. Probably going to run out the Ragtag Squad. No particular need for Onomastic before turn 3. And does want to get in the damage whenever possible. No, it's going to be Onomastic first. Interesting. Naming Deafening Clarion, I had to guess. Yep. Unfortunately, that's going to trade unfavorably against the Ukus Chrysaris that Kaiju is about to play here. It's an interesting choice to play out. Oh, and Kaiju having kept in some Seafloor figures, although Kaiju is on 4 main deck, so probably can't side out all of them. Interesting option like Ragtag Squad or Onomastic here. Obviously, Ragtag Squad's very bad if they go next turn Elton on X equals 0. Um, I mean, no two ways about that. But Onomastic kind of like you're kind of stopping Clarion a turn before they can even have Clarion. Like now they can turn 2 answer your automatic. Next turn they'll have this. They'll be able to have the Clarion. Whereas if you play it on your turn 3, going into their turn 3, they might not be able to answer it and play the Clarion you're trying to stop. CatInTree, really important decision. What creature types do you put on your Ragtide Squad tokens? Going with Sopter and Construct this time. Very strong choices. I think Sopter especially. Really underrated creature type for this kind of scenario. Kayiu, yep, just going to kill the 2/2 here. Go up to 21, down to 19. And CatInTree just not doing that much damage. With their 1/1s without having a Consume Divine or a Consuming Matriarch or a Fabricated Anomaly to pump them up. Kaiyu's mana problems are fixed by a Misty Peak, although this turn is probably Primal Fissure. Primal Fissure, leave up Seafloor Treasures and Uku's Cursars, looks like. Don't have to make any decisions right now. If CatInTree just attacks, doesn't cast any spells pre-combat, Kaiyou might be tempted to Uku's just to prevent getting a marker on the Sparks of a Revolution. Or could just let it go to be able to cast the Seafloor Treasures. I think both choices fully justifiable here. But Kaiyu's going to let the damage in, willing to be patient. Sparks has hit 3 sources. But CatInTree just drew from that 2-land opening hand, has drawn 3 lands in what must be the first 4 draw steps. So just not, actually might have been every draw step because they were on the play. So not doing much, and I think it's probably going to be the end for CatInTree. With Kaiyou looking to be able to get to Clash at Aura's Cross with a pretty decent life total, and that's going to really take CatInTree down to no pressure at all. This Seafloor Treasures could even find like a Deafening Clarion just to prevent even more damage, or something like a Path of Scales, or even a Counterspell would be useful here. Grabs, yeah, as I said, Counterspell Overrule Sought is really good here because what you're mainly worried about if you're Kaiyou, I would say what you're mainly worried about is stuff like Consume the Divine and Anomaly, but CatInTree just has the 5th land in hand. Kaiyou probably going to just, yep, Silent Lakefront wants to be able to hit 5 mana next turn for Aura's Cross. Okay. If CatInTree draws Consume the Divine, it goes Shock and Windbeaten Stones, play Consume the Divine, able to pay for Overrule Sought next turn. Able to hit for 6 with all the counters there. Maybe one of them gets Ukust, or maybe not. Gets Kaiyou to 10, and then there's a Clash of Doors Cross in play, and it's still not great, but it's something. It's kind of what CatInTree has to hope for here. There is a whatchamacallit, a Seafloor Treasures in the graveyard, but cannot be flashback quite yet. CatInTree's draw. It's an anomaly. Okay, you can. That does basically the same thing as the Consuming Divine, but it's worse because it dies to Clash of Doors Cross. Yep, remembers to shock in, not get Overrule Sodded here. Anomaly comes down. And the real question for Kaiyou is, do you use this Uku's Chrysaris just to prevent 2 damage? And I think the answer is probably no. You're going to be able to Aura's Cross next turn. Yeah, it was correct, by the way, for CatInTree to not... Oh, no. Okay. Kaiyou is going to be going for the Uku's Chrysaris this turn on the Fabricated Anomaly. I guess it prevents not 2 damage, but 3 if you hit the Fabricated Anomaly itself. CatInTree's sad to have to play that land, even though it turned out to be necessary for the Overrule Sought, because it gives you less to discard to the puzzle box. So yeah, Kaiyou might not even be going for Aura's Cross right now. Although it has to be tempting. I mean, it's just, it does something. You can defeat it with this terminal impact, and that'll give you a lot of inevitability. And you're not doing an enormous amount else this turn. Yeah. Clash comes down. Uku's just cashed in for basically 6 life there, which I think does make sense when Terminal is one of the cards you're most worried about here. Kaiyou playing very conservative in this game, that they are very close to winning. CatInTree, not really sure what they're hoping for here. Discards Ruins Awaken, draws Plains, plays it. But yeah, there's no way you're getting out of this with Terminal Impact. Not from 16, you're not. But that seems to be the approach. Yeah, I guess if you Terminal Impact this turn, it goes to 11. You can top deck Terminal Impact into Terminal Impact. And if Kayiu doesn't currently have a face-up way to gain life, I think you... So, yeah, I think that's your best option if you're CatInTree. But Kayiu seems likely to just take this opportunity to run out an Iviana. And go get some enormous dragon. None of the dragons in Kayiu's sideboard can gain life. Oh, yes, and that Terminal Impact by CatInTree also flips Sparkly Revolution. I think the option of just Terminal Impact Clash for 4, play Rousing Path, or play Misty Peak is also a fully legit option for Kayiu here. It gets you a 2/2 Vigilance at the end of your turn, which kind of like will keep the freedom stuff under control. But yeah, Kayiu at this point is thinking, how do I beat top deck terminal into top deck terminal, and or how can I use them as few turns as possible to top deck 2 terminal impacts? So it's very slim outs that Kayiu is worried about here. An offset demon or another Ukus Crusaris will just lock this up, as will just letting Iviana be on the battlefield for too long and get good dragons. Kaiu's thinking it over. Let me see if I can remember the sideboard. Iviana has in the sideboard, there's a Garation as a finisher. There's, I think, an Eltonon in there. Eltonon number 4. There is the deal 4 and both counterspells, I think. Or maybe just one of the counterspells. Nothing that gains life, being the point. I don't think there's... Unless Kayiu sided out an Ukus Crusaris. No, it's not a dragon, is it? It's a unicorn. That doesn't work. So yeah. No dragons that gain life. Eltonon is an option. You could go get Eltonon and then Shock and Misty Peak, and then Eltonon X equals 1. That's a legit plan. Puts you to 9, but you do get to get rid of all of their non-impermanents. Getting rid of Puzzle Box certainly means you're much less likely to get hit by double terminal impact. But it looks like Iviana here, not Shocking and Misty Peak, so it's not the Eltonon line. Yeah, it's just going to be plus Iviana kill Golem. Going to be able to cast a big dragon next turn if Kayiu wants. Draw with Radiant Pilgrim. I have to imagine we are discarding all cards that are not named Terminal Impact. Primal Fissure is the draw. Yep, play it. That makes sense. 7 mana means 2 Terminal Impacts kills through 1 Ukus Crusaris life gain. If that gets drawn. I don't believe Kayiu can kill this turn, but they can certainly kill next turn. What's it going to be with Iviana? Is it Garation going for the kill, or is it Eltonon reducing the outs? I think it's likely to be Eltonon is my best guess, but it could be either of those, or even the 4 damage one is potentially relevant for lethal calculations that I haven't fully completed. 9 mana. It is Garation, who is castable. But I think Garation is just threatening lethal next turn. May or may not be the cast this turn. Oh, it's going to be the cast this turn. Gets to cast Stargazing, I guess. Yep. And has haste and ward 2. So yeah, CatInTree I think is fully dead. Can't kill this Garation. Could draw Terminal Impact for 7 to Kayiu, but then just dies to Iviana on the following turn, and that's an Ukus Crusaris. Kayiu uncharacteristically playing the land before doing this. Could have saved that. What if you... No, you already played a land this turn. Is that... I crazy? No, I am crazy. They haven't played a land this turn. So yeah, they're the shock that in. Now they have Ukus Chrysaris up. My bad. Yeah. Attacks face, not clash at Aura's Cross. And next turn, Iviana can get another enormous dragon. Uh, and that's going to be the game. Kayiu, undefeated all tournament, 4-0 in the Swiss into 2 quick wins in semifinals and then finals. Very strong deck. I mean, Kayiu really proving the strength of the battle control, Jeskai control core with the anti aggro, these Ukrus Kasaris being enormously impactful, and then like Iviana and the battles being able to go over the top of everything else everyone's doing. And CatInTree doesn't draw anything relevant, and that's gonna be the game, the set, the match, and the whole tournament. Congratulations to Kayiu 102. And that is, in fact, Kaiyu's not only a tournament win for Kayiu, but a Worlds invite for Kayiu, who was not previously qualified. Very strong player. Um, uh, and yeah, even if I beat CatInTree, I think I'm unfavored into Kayiu. They just have the bigger control deck, and I think a better sideboard than I do. Would have loved to play it out still. But that is yeah, Kaiju thing had actual draws, which is fair. I didn't have. I could have played better against CatInTree. I'm going to hold that against myself. I'm not going to blame variance, but Kaiju draws, I think, the more typical way this kind of matchup goes. Okay, thank you all for watching. I will see you next month for a Chikyu buff patch and various other balance changes and the very last Worlds qualification and Cube. So, looking forward to all that. Thank you and good night.